Formation of companies. We can begin and write that formation of a company in Kenya. Formation of a company in Kenya is a straightforward process. Is a straightforward process. It's a straightforward process, and any individual or group of persons can form a company. That's again. Okay, so we have said the formation of a company in Kenya is a straightforward process, and any person or a group of persons can form a company. Then down there we write that the following steps should be taken. The following steps should be taken. Following steps should be taken. Number one is name search. Name search and preservation. Name search and preservation. Name search and preservation. And we say, still on that point, we say that once the registrar approves the name, it is reserved. It is reserved for 30 days. It is reserved for 30 days. The registrar can reject a name. The registrar can reject a name for such reasons as number one, the use of the name The use of the name constitutes an offense. Roman 2, the name is too similar, or the name is similar. The name is similar to that of an existing company. The name is similar to that of an existing company. Roman 3, the name contains initials which are not authorized by the Act. The name contains initials which are not authorized by the Act. Another one is the name contains characters or signs or symbols which are not in the prescribed form. Which are not in the prescribed form. One is that the name is misleading. The name is misleading. The name is misleading. Another one is the name creates an impression. Of association with a county government, association with a county government, or a state organ, or any public authority, Yeah, and later on, you can check these questions. The question of December 2022, question 1A, and September 2015, question 1A and C. September 2015, question 1A and C. So we are saying that the very first step that we take, or you should take, in case you wish to form yourself into a company, it is to search the name. And nowadays, we are doing it online via something known as e-citizen. You just type the name that you are suggesting, and then the registrar checks. And if the name is okay, the name will be served for 30 days. It cannot be given to someone else. And the 30 days is a period not enough for you to have taken the other steps that we are going to look at. However, there are some reasons why the registrar will decline the name you have suggested. One is if the name consists an offense, or it is like a vulgar habit. For example, if you are telling us, my company is called Wezi Company, ama Wakora Company, ama Wachawi Company. Now, those names are not acceptable in our cultural setup. The name is very similar to other names, to other companies that are already in existence. And why that is so is because some people could use your name for con people. They could use your name. And we know this. People have gone posing to be other persons, and you act hoping or thinking that you are serving the other person, only to learn that you are being conned. The other thing is that the name contains vision which are not authorized by the act. For example, my name is George Kimani, so I can use initials of GK. But we know GK is commonly used to refer to what? The government of Kenya. So those initials cannot be used. Or maybe you have some characters, some signs, or some symbols which are not in the prescribed form. So again, the Companies Act uses a format in which the symbols, the emblems, and so on should be placed. The other one is that the name is misleading. Misleading. What you have written there is likely to be misconstrued. I think part of last year there was an advert, I don't know whether you saw it, that was reading Co.Law. Did you see that advert? Hey, where do you live, you people? Co.Law nakuja. Actually, I think you are the ones. Co.Law nakuja. Those are online. Did you see that advert? Joki and Andrea?
No.
Okay. Narea? Yes. Sasa, ukiambiwa toa nguo nakuja. What quickly comes to your mind? Don't answer me. No, what quickly comes to your mind. So people are judging that. But if you now took attention to the advert, it was not what people were quickly assuming. But it was about the detergent. They were advertising what? Detergent. Which was saying, toa manguo zako nje pale zenye ziko na uchafu, mimi kama detergent nakuja kusafisha. So toa nguo nakuja kusafisha. But you see now, that's the mention of the words toa nguo nakuja, it creates an impression that the other thing is you create an impression that the company has any relationship with the county government or a state organ or a public authority. For example, if I form a company and I call it Murang'a County School of Business, Murang'a County School of Business. Now, someone traveling to Murang'a would think that that school has something to do with the county government of Murang'a, but it has nothing to do with that. So if you are creating a company that has those characters, you will be denied registration. So that's the first step. Step number 2 is execute the following documents, or execution of the following documents. Execute the following documents. 1, statement of nominal capital. Statement of nominal capital or guarantee. Statement of nominal capital or guarantee. Remember, I told you a company can be limited by shares, that's capital, or it can be limited by guarantee. So whichever is the case, you need to give us a statement that effect. The second document that you must give us is CR1. CR1, this is the company registration form. Company registration form. So you must fill this form and you submit it. Company registration form. We call it CR1. Then we have a number 3, which is known as CR2. This one is called memorandum. Memorandum of association. Memorandum of association, that is the next one, CR2. Next one is CR8, which is notice. CR8, this is notice of addresses of directors. notice of addresses of directors that should also be submitted. Another one is articles of association. Articles of association should give us that. Another one is cessation form. If upgrading the business. If upgrading the business. If you are upgrading the business. Another one is beneficial owners form. Beneficial owners form. So when we talk of execution, we are simply talking of preparation and submission. So these documents you should prepare and you should submit to the registrar. Obviously, the documents have what we call prescribed information. So they will tell you hapa, jaza hii na hii. So you should be able to give these documents. So we go to step number 3. Number 3 is declaration of compliance form. Declaration of compliance form. Number 208. Declaration of compliance form. Number I'd like to explain kidogo. This is duly completed and signed by an advocate. Confirming that all the requirements confirming that all the requirements as per the Companies Act, have been satisfied. So the meaning of this form, or the importance of this form, is to avoid a situation where tutakuwa tunafanyisha the registrar a lot of work. Leo unapeleka 2 documents, kesho unapeleka another one, unapeleka hajajazwa. So the registrar does not have all that time of back and forth. So by the time you are tabling your documents to the registrar, you should be able to confirm, and not yourself, because you're not really qualified matters law, but an advocate, someone who is qualified to look at all your documents and say that I am satisfied that all the requirements as per the Companies Act have been met. Sasa zinapelekwa kwa registrar. Yeah. Then step number 4. If all the requirements have been met, and the registrar is satisfied, the registrar issues a certificate of incorporation. Okay, so I think that is okay, and very, very clear that if the registrar is satisfied, he will give you the certificate of what? Incorporation. And it's after you get this certificate of incorporation that now you acquire the characters that maybe we could have noted although we already have it in the notes, but just as a way of connecting, before we do 0.5, it is after this certificate. It is after this certificate that the legal characters of a company are acquired. That the legal characters of a company are acquired. Sorry, are acquired. The legal characters of a company are acquired. Now that one, I put it there because you can see some other people ask you what is the legal effect of a certificate of incorporation. It is when you get that certificate of incorporation that the company is born. Just like we get birth certificate, that is the birth certificate of a company. And it is there that you acquire the characters. I think we discussed 10 or 12 characteristics of a company. So that is when now you acquire those characters. And of great importance are the legal characters, the issue of separate legal entity, the issue of being able to contract, and so on. Point number 5 is commencement of business. Commencement of business. Commencement of business. Commencement of business. Still on that point to write, a private company can commence, a private company can commence business immediately after the certificate of incorporation. Can commence business immediately after the certificate of incorporation, first of all. A public limited company, will have to wait. Will have to wait for the registrar. Will have to wait for the registrar to give a certificate. To give a certificate that the nominal value, James Karibu, and mute yourself. The nominal value of the company's James, you're not able to mute yourself. He assists you by muting everyone. Okay. That the nominal value of the company's allotted share capital. Of the company's allotted share capital. Of the company's allotted share capital is not less than the authorized minimum capital. Is not less than the authorized minimum capital. The authorized minimum capital. So now we are saying immediately you get the certificate of incorporation. If you are a private company, you can begin business. But if you are a public company, you have to wait until the registrar gives you another certificate. We also call it certificate of business. It is a certificate that certifies that the nominal value of the company's allotted share is not less than what is authorized minimum. Yeah. All things authorized minimum. Good. So those are the steps that we follow in forming a company. Let's now look at promoters of a company. Let's look at promoters of a company. Promoters of a company. I will write that a promoter is a person who undertakes to form a company. Undertakes to form a company. So that is the simple definition. A promoter mwenye ameamua I'm going to form a company. Then we write that a promoter has two types of duties. A promoter has two types of duties. Two types of duties. One, like to a general or common law duties. General or common law duties. So number one, under this, he must exercise reasonable skill and care. So as you do what you're doing, don't go making what I would call silly mistakes, for lack of a better word. You must exercise reasonable care and skill. Something else that is generally expected of this person is to determine and set up for a company's name, for the name, company name. So it is his responsibility to ensure that he determines and he determines the name of the company and he settles for it. Number three is to cause the company to be registered. Cause the company to be registered. Cause the company to be registered. When we say to cause, we mean he should take all the necessary steps. The 5 steps that we have talked about, he should do all that. Another one is to appoint first directors. To appoint first directors. We must know who will be the first directors of our company. And it is him who do that. To appoint first directors. Another responsibility is to meet preliminary expenses. Preliminary expenses. These are expenses that are incurred when you are forming the company. For example, kuna document you need to print, you need to type, kuna maybe fare, kuna malipo ya wakili hapa na pale. So all those kinds of expenses, it is his responsibility to do that. Another one is to acquire initial assets for the company. So it is him to know what is required for me to, or for the company to begin. Maybe we need to buy a printer, we need to buy a paper batch, we need to buy a vehicle, we need to buy land, we need even to hire space and to pay rent and deposit. All those kind of things are his responsibilities. So for that, you can check the question of August 2022, question 3A. The question of August 2022, question 3A. You can see whether you'll be able to answer that. The next, number 2, is called fiduciary duties. Fiduciary duties, and we write that these are duties that arise. These are duties that arise. The duties that arise if the shares of the company, will be allocated or will be allotted to some other persons, after incorporation. Either all or some of them. Either all or some of them. First of all, in this case, the promoter is deemed to be an agent. It's deemed to be an agent of those persons. And consequently, the following duties arise. 1, account for any benefits. Obtained through acting as a promoter. Any benefit obtained through acting as a promoter. Number 2, not to put himself in a position where there is a conflict of interest. In a position where there is a conflict of interest. In a position where there is a conflict of interest. Number 3, provide full information on all transactions, and for all monies arising from them. All monies arising from them. Another one is not to make unfair use of his position. Not to make unfair use of his position. So we are saying, when you are forming a company and later on you hope that you will sell some shares to some other fellows, or all of them utauzia watu, because there are people who are in the business of forming companies, alafu wanaiuza. At that point, you are deemed to be an agent of those persons. And you therefore have to fulfill these duties. One, you must not make any benefit, must not make any profit from that. And number two, you must not put yourself in a place that will create a conflict of interest. For example, a person like me who is a teacher, and I'm forming a company called Destiny to be teaching CPA. And then I appoint myself to be the director of studies. And I already have my classes in another building. So I can easily be telling students, but I have a Destiny, kuja pale, I also have another class that is going on there. So that creates what? A conflict of interest. Or you are already a lawyer, and then you appoint to yourself the legal director. You are already an auditor, you appoint to yourself the director in charge of audit and so on. So those conflicts of interest should not be there. You must disclose full information. Anything that you did when they were not there, you must put it on the table fully. The other thing is that you must not make unfair use, especially when we come to appointments, acquisition of assets. We should not find you that now you are employing people who should not be employed simply because you are the promoter of the company, or you want to be given some undue advantages. That is wrong. Now down there, but on a sentence on its own, and we write that a promoter may, however, make a legitimate profit. Promoter may, however, make a legitimate profit. Legitimate profit if he had acquired a property, if he had acquired a property, if he had acquired a property before promoting the company, and then sells the property, to the company, at a profit, provided that he fully discloses it. Provided that he fully discloses it. Another point is that a wrongful profit, a wrongful profit is made by a promoter. A wrongful profit is made by a promoter who enters personally into a contract, and makes a profit, as a promoter, So you can check the question of September 2015, question 1A. September 2015, question 1A. So those 2 points are alluding to 2 types of profits. Remember, one of the fiduciary duties, you must not benefit yourself. But there are instances when you can make a profit. And we are saying, maybe before you formed the company, you had a property. And you realize that this company will require that kind of property. Maybe you require nagari, ama you require na shamba. And you have sold that property to the company at a profit. As long as you disclose That means when the other guys come, you tell them, ilikuwa na hii gari, nimeuzia hii kampuni and this profit. Ilikuwa na hii shamba before even I thought of promoting the company. That's okay. But it is not okay if you form a contract personally in your personal capacity. And then out of that contract, you get profit. Now that would be wrong. These are contracts where you are forming a company and you start promising some people some things. Now, I'm in the process of promoting this company. And once the company is fully incorporated, I will give you these benefits. And as a result of that promise, you get some profits. Now, that profit is seen to be wrongful. Let's now look at remedy for breach of promoters' fiduciary duties. Remedies for breach of promoters' fiduciary duties. Remedy for breach of promoters' fiduciary duty. Okay, point number one, we write that if the promoter does not make a proper disclosure, if the promoter does not make a proper disclosure, of the legitimate profit of the legitimate profit or they have made a wrongful profit, the primary remedy is to rescind the contract. Rescind means kutoka. Is to rescind the contract and recover the money. Not unless it is too late. Or the company prefers to keep the property. R-E-S-C-I-N-D, rescind. To move out of the contract. Number two, the promoter has a statutory liability. The promoter has a statutory liability. To compensate anyone. Statutory liability. Compensate anyone who suffered a loss. As a result of acquiring shares. as a result of acquiring shares, relying on a prospectus. Relying on a prospectus that was untrue. That was untrue. Or misleading, or had errors of omission. Errors of omission. Or had errors of omission. Now utaipata kwa swali ya November 2019. Question 2A. So we are saying, in case the promoter has violated these fiduciary duties. One, if he has not fully disclosed, the company can decide we are going to recover our profit. Your pesa will pass, we are going to recover that money. In terms of the assets, or in the case of the assets that we sold to the company, we can return the assets. Sema sisi hatutaki gari, hatuko tunataka shamba, na hata kama ni tulikuwa tunataka si hapo na si that price. So the company can decide to return. Then the company can decide the contract. They were saying, sisi, we were not party to it, we do not know it. Yeah, we were UK, so to use that one. And then the other thing to mesema, if it is too late, then you just keep the assets. It is too late to keep the asset, to return. And maybe you also think that you would need the asset. Yeah. The other thing is, if the promoter had invited, remember to some fiduciary duties, they arise if the shares will be given to some other person. Now, the issuance of shares is done through a document called prospectus. A prospectus is a document that invites the public to buy shares or to subscribe to shares. So this prospectus, as we discussing later on as we go by and by, it is supposed to be very true. It is supposed to be complete. It's not supposed to have errors. So if someone bought shares and they have suffered, you are held personally liable. Good. Let's now look at the remuneration of a promoter. The remuneration of a promoter. Now that tumesema he cannot make a profit, na hata kama atatengeneza profit, vikwazo ni mingi. What is the remuneration? How do we compensate him? Remuneration of a promoter. Remuneration of a promoter. And we say that a promoter has no legal rights. A promoter has no legal rights. Has no legal rights to claim any remuneration from the company. Has no legal rights. Claim any remuneration from the company for two reasons. For two reasons. One, the company did not ask you to promote it. The company did not ask him to promote it. Not ask him to promote it. Number two, after incorporation, the company cannot enter into a binding contract. The company cannot enter into a binding contract to pay the promoter. Since the payment is a past consideration. Since the payment is a past consideration. So we are saying that as a promoter, you have no legal rights. You cannot complain for two reasons. One, the company did not ask you to form it, so don't charge us. Number two, even if we wanted, hii maneno ulifanya when you were not there. And you know from your commercial law, any contract should have a consideration. But that consideration must not be passed. So we are not getting to a contract, nikulipe something that you did to me previously. It must be current or future. It's like what some people, when they have bad manners, they will go asking their parents, mimi nilikuuliza. Yes, you have heard that those things, eh? Yeah. And legally it's okay. We never asked to be born. Yeah, we never asked. So the same thing is alluded here. But let's write another sentence down there and write that, however, at the discretion of the director of the company, at the discretion of the director of the company, a promoter is allowed. The promoter is allowed a reasonable remuneration for his services. A reasonable remuneration for his services. First of all, the following ways can be used to make the payment. The following ways can be used to make the payment. One, paid lump sum cash. Paid lump sum cash. Another one is given fully paid up shares. Fully paid up shares in the company. Fully paid up shares in the company. Another one is paid partly cash and partly shares or debentures. Paid partly shares, rather partly cash, and partly shares or debentures. Debentures. Another one is paid commission. Paid commission on shares sold. Paid commission on shares sold. Paid commission on shares sold. Another one is allowed to sell, allowed to sell overvalued assets to the company, overvalued assets to the company, overvalued assets to the company. Another one is appointed as first director of the company. As director of the company. And this one was examined in September 2021 as 2A. September 2021, question 2A. So what we are saying here, though legally the promoter has no ground to make any claim, it is human that those who have come as directors should recognize that this guy did something. And when you recognize, then you pay. That's why we are saying it is at the discretion. Discretion means it is your choice. You are not compelled. It's your choice. It's just like when you people will teach you and you pass the exams. Some of you come back here very happy and you give us maybe some few coins or some money or some gifts as a way of appreciating. Lakini si lazima. Yeah, I cannot now follow you after the result. Nikwambia wewe nikufunza, mbona hujanipea 200? Mbona hujanitumia 50 ama 1000? No. You are not under duty. It is at your discretion. Yeah. So you can be paid cash, apewe tuseme tulipe 100,000 or 1 million, apewe songa sasa. Malizana hayo. Ama tumpatie fully paid up what? Shares. Tumwambie these shares we are allocating them to you and we will not demand that you pay. The other way is umulipe pesa kidogo na umpatie some shares. The other way is you can give him a commission on the shares that he has sold. And we don't remember, we have said in part of his remedies or part of his abilities, when he issued shares using a prospectus that is erroneous, should be taken responsible. So it is only human, therefore, that when he has done it successfully, we should give him some commission. Or we can allow him to sell to us an asset that is overvalued, while we are aware that this asset, come together, so we would have gotten it at 1 but we allow him to sell to us at 1.2 million. So we are well aware, and it's also well aware. The other one is you can appoint him or you can confirm that he is among the first directors. Yeah, he is among the first directors. So that is good. The next thing that we need to look at now is what we call pre-incorporation contracts. Pre-incorporation contracts. Pre-incorporation contracts. Pre-incorporation contracts. And write that these are contracts. These are contracts purported to have been made by a company. Purported to have been made by a company. By a company or its agents. Or its agents. At a time before the company had been formed. At a time before the company had been formed. These contracts are governed by the following rules. These contracts are governed by the following rules. Governed by the following rules. So what we are saying is, when you are forming a company as a promoter, there are services that you may require, and the provider of such services may require that you join a contract with them. But the company has not been formed. For example, maybe you want to employ someone, and that person requires that you sign an employment contract. Or maybe you want to hire a premises, kama hapa kwetu, and the landlord wants you to sign what? A contract. Lakini kampuni haijakuwa formed. So you have to go now and sign that contract, even before the company is formed. As we go by and by, we'll be discussing one of the documents we say called Memorandum of Association. And one of the items that in a Memorandum of Association is where the company will be operating from. Now you cannot go to the registrar umwambie tutakuwa bazaar, na saa hiyo hujasecure bazaar 11th floor. So by the time unaenda kwa the registrar, lazima ukuwe umepangana na landlord na ushapewa hii space. Then ndio uende umwambie Destiny Technical Limited will be located at 11th floor of the bazaar answer. Now, the rules that guide here are: number one, a company is not bound by any pre-incorporation contracts. By any pre-incorporation contract, since it is only after incorporation. Since it is only after incorporation that the company acquires a legal personality. That the company acquires a legal personality to contract, a legal personality to contract, and to have agents. And to have agents. And that was decided in a case known as Elena versus Baxter. Elena versus Baxter. We don't have a lot of case laws, but the few ones that are there, I'll give you a handout. Case laws. Number two, a company can never ratify a contract. A company can never ratify a contract made on its behalf. Made on its behalf. Made on its behalf before it was incorporated. Before it was incorporated. Since non-existence. Since non-existence. Non-existence defeats ratification. Since non-existence defeats ratification. Another one, number three, is that the agent who undertook any liability agent who undertook any liability. The agent who undertook any liability in a pre-incorporation contract. In a pre-incorporation contract, is personally liable. Is personally liable. Another point is a mere adoption. Mere adoption or recognition is another rule. That should be number 4, eh? A mere adoption or recognition or confirmation by directors of the contract, by the directors of the contract creates no binding relationship. Creates no binding relationship. Creates no binding relationship between the company and third parties. Between the company and third parties. So what we are saying is, in as far as these pre-incorporation contracts are concerned, one, the company is not bound. So any such is deemed to be null and void. And whoever joined that contract and admitted liability, he will be held personally liable. Cannot come and drag the company into that. The other thing is, you cannot ratify. To ratify means something was done on your behalf without your knowledge. And when you come to the knowledge, unasema, well, yeah, I'm okay. Hata kama mngeniuliza, I will still have agreed. That is called ratification. But for you to ratify, you must prove existence, that you must have existed at the point your deal you find in your absence, or even without your knowledge. So this company was not there, so you cannot ratify something that was done when you are not there. And the mere recognition or adoption or confirmation. Kusema tunajua kuna contract ilikuwa imeformiwa na Kimani na radio ama na mtu fulani. That does not mean it's binding. That does not mean it's binding. It's like what some people will say, mimi nakujua lakini sikujui in that capacity. The other day I was in I do counseling. So we were dealing with a case and jana alikuwa ameruka msichana. And one of the parents akasema mimi msichana nakujua lakini sikujui kama mimi ya kijana. So they recognize you, but they don't recognize you in that binding what? Namuonanga tu hapa anatembeanga lakini I do not know beyond that. Good. Or even some conmen, they do so. Even in places like here, we experience that. Mtu anakujaga tu unamuonaga hapa politics, but it's not a student, it's not even a teacher. So anakuja anapita unamuonaga anakutaima anajua uko na kitu fulani, then anakugoja hapo chini unaongea. Sasa wewe unafikiria ni mwanafunzi, mata ni mwalimu, because unamuonaga in the politics. Ukishaibiwa Nakuja kusema yule jamaa anakaa hivi na hivi, kwa kweli tulimuona, but it's not our student, it's not our teacher. Wewe utafute wherever they are. Yeah. Let's now look at solutions or remedies for pre-incorporation contracts. The remedies. The remedies for pre-incorporation contracts. As a minute. Okay, so remedies. We write number 1. The promoter can transfer. The promoter can transfer the right to enforce. The promoter can transfer the right to enforce the contract to the company. The right to enforce the contract to the company. Number 2, the contract can be made to remain as a draft. Can be made to remain as a draft. Can be made to remain as a draft, which is not binding. Which is not binding until after incorporation. Until after incorporation. Another point is that the contract can contain a clause. The contract can contain a clause that the personal responsibility of the promoter, personal responsibility of the promoter will cease. When the company will be incorporated. Cease when the company will be incorporated. When the company will be incorporated. And the company will enter. Incorporated. And the company will enter a new contract. Enter a new contract on identical terms. A new contract on identical terms. It brackets innovation. Novation. Novation. Number 4, buy a company of shares. Buy a company of shares. Full stop, still on the same point. The company will be able to ratify the contract. The company will be able to ratify the contract. Able to ratify the contract. Since it existed on the shelf. Quote. Since it existed on the shelf at the time the contract was made. At the time the contract was made. At the the time the contract was made. You can note these questions. November 2020, question 1A. November 2020, question 1A. The second question is November 2016. November 2016, question 2A and B. 2016, question 2A and B. The last one is May 2016, question 3B. May 2016, question 3B. So we are saying, because there are instances that would demand you form the pre-incorporation contract, number one, you can transfer the right to enforce, but that does not mean the company is bound. But the company can enforce. You see, like if I entered a contract as Kimani, and now Destiny may here, I can transfer that right to Destiny, then Destiny iko inafuata huyo mtu. As in, barua sasa badala itoke kwangu as Kimani, itoke ikiwa naleta head ya Destiny to that person. So it is Destiny that is following the issue now. And you know, when the company is following, it carries more weight than when an individual is following. The other way is you just get this document, the contract, but don't complete it fully. If you have signed a contract, one of the things you know, pale chini na kuanga na mahali wewe una sign, mwenye mnaandikiana na yeye ana sign, and maybe a witness, and maybe an advocate. Those are some of the four signatures that will be required. So badala ya kusign hapo, you just do all the other details, lakini unamwambia hapa tutasign after. Yeah, so they keep a draft, you keep a draft, but it's not binding. However, the other person may not agree because what will happen if you look na asha kupea the service. So if they don't agree and they insist that the contract be completed, then you can also look for a way of inserting a clause that I'm fully signing this contract. But after the company is incorporated, the company now will become responsible. I will move out. And the company will become responsible by joining a new contract and the same terms, under the same terms. That's contract we call novation. The other way is if these guys cannot allow you to do the draft, they cannot allow you to do the novation, then just buy a company off the shelf. Kuna majamaa huwa wanaform companies na kaa pale kwa register wakingoja mtu akusia. Later on, you can change the name because it's possible to change the name. It is very common with politicians. Wakati wa uchaguzi, umefanya nominations, wanakunyima certificate, and you are still convinced that you need to run. Hiyo time political parties act ishawafunga kufungua chama yake. So unapata kajamaa kalifungua chama yake akaregister, naenda unainunua. Even Kalonzo hii yake ODM Kenya, it was bought from a guy known as Gitofu. Because by the time walikuwa wanakosana, it was late for him to form another political. So unaenda unakimbia unanunua na unasoma. Haya, the next thing that now we need to look at is called statement of capital and initial shareholding. Statement of capital and initial shareholding. Statement of capital and initial shareholding. Remember, this is one of the documents to say it must be executed if we are dealing with a company that has share capital. And we make the following points. This statement is said to be in compliance. This statement is said to be in compliance with Section 14. Section 14, subsections 2 and 3. Section 14, subsections 2 and 3 if it contains the following information. Section 14, subsections 2 and 3, if it contains the following information. Number 1, prescribed information. Prescribed information to enable identification. To enable identification of subscribers to memorandum of association. Identification of subscribers to memorandum of association. But 2, total number of shares. Total number of shares taken by each subscriber. Total number of shares taken by each subscriber. Another one is aggregate nominal value. Aggregate nominal value of shares taken. Aggregate nominal value of shares taken. Of shares taken. That one is rights number and nominal value. Rights number and nominal value for each class of shares. For each class of shares. For each class of shares. Another one is amount to be paid up. Amount to be paid up. And to be unpaid. And to be unpaid. On each share. On each share. Whether nominal or premium. Whether nominal or premium. Whether nominal or premium. So that is what we call the statement of capital and initial shareholding. It should show us those 5 things. We should get prescribed. When we say prescribed, it is information that is already guided by the registrar, and this is what we need to know. So that we can know who are the subscribers, who are these guys behind the company. Then we know the number of shares. Then we also get to know the aggregate nominal value, the right of various classes, the amount to be paid. Okay, the next document that we had mentioned, we are now looking at the document that we had mentioned. The next one was statement of guarantee. So the statement of guarantee. Statement of guarantee. Statement of guarantee. And we write that this is required by section 15. By section 15 is required by section 15 and should contain the following information. And should contain the following information. Section 15, it should contain the following information. 1. Prescribed information. Prescribed information. Prescribed information to identify subscribers. Prescribed information to identify subscribers to the memorandum of association. To the memorandum of association. Number 2. Each person who is a member undertakes. Each person who is a member undertakes to contribute to the assets of the company. Contribute to the assets of the company. Such amount as may be required. Such amount as may be required. As may be required for paying debts and other obligations. For paying debts and other obligations. If the company is wound up. If the company is wound up. Wound up while being members. Is wound up while being members. Wound up while being members. Or within 12 months. Or within 12 months. Of ceasing to be a member. Ceasing to be a member. So this one, it happened where the company is limited by guarantee. And I told you the company is limited by guarantee. Kama hujaleta pesa kwa kampuni, lakini you have made a commitment. Umesema in the event hii kampuni ishindwe kulipa madeni zake, I can come in and contribute, for example, 1 million. So in the event the company is unable to pay debts, you will be called upon. So each statement gives us a commitment that you have agreed, you have undertaken that in case of such happening, you need to 1 million. And this one is when you are a member of the company, or the company is wound up, or within 12 months after you have left. Now, these 12 months of leaving is meant to prevent the company from being sabotaged by some people. Unajua kuna mtu anaweza kuwa director, akuje aibie kampuni, ama afanye mambo, anajua hii mambo itaangusha kampuni, then ajiondoe. So by the time the company is collapsing, the guy is already out. And we have several cases. Some of them even have gone to the court of law. It's only that I'm recording these, not to mention names, but we have people who do that. So if the company fails within 12 months, title, you got upon so that you also contribute. But after 12 months, now you can argue when niliacha, they had a whole 1 year. So kama hawakurekebisha, Yeah. The other one is called Statement of Proposed Officers. Statement of Proposed Officers. Statement of Proposed Officers. And write that this is required by Section 16. Section 16. And should contain the following. And should contain the following. 1. Details of persons appointed. Details of persons appointed as first directors, comma, company secretary, and authorized signatories. Number 2, consent by each of the persons. Consent by each of the persons to act in the respective capacity. Consent by each of the persons to act in the respective capacity. So what we are saying here is you should tell us who are the first directors of the company, who is our company secretary, who is the authorized signatories, maybe you want them to open the bank account. And then these guys must give us consent. Remember, one of the characters we said about a company is that a company is a voluntary association. Members are there by choice and by consent. So you cannot force a person to be your secretary or to be your director or to be your signatory. No, they must agree. Good. The next document that we need to mention is Memorandum of Association. Memorandum of Association. Memorandum of Association. Memorandum of Association. I realize that this is a document stating that. This is a document stating that the subscribers wish to form. The subscribers wish to form a company. Wish to form a company under the Companies Act. Under the Companies Act, and agree to become members of the company. And agree to become members of the company. Agree to become members of the company. And if the company will have share capital, and if the company will have share capital, if the company will have share capital, each of the subscribers will take at least one share. each of the subscribers will take at least one share. Each of the subscribers will take at least one share. Another point is that this document contains rules and regulations that guide interactions, rules and regulations that guide interactions, of the company with outsiders. Of the company with outsiders. It has 6 clauses. There are 6 clauses or clauses. So that is what we call a memorandum of association. And we're saying it is a document that states that the subscribers that they wish to form themselves into a company under the Companies Act, because you may purport to form a company in another way, so that now we want to be legally recognized. And then you are also declaring that you want to become a member of that company. And if the company will have share capital, you will take at least one share. Take at least one share. So this document is the one that guides interactions with outsiders. And as you go by and by, you'll be seeing how that interaction is guided. So it has 6 clauses or clauses. We still have like 12, 13 minutes. We can discuss 2 or 3 clauses. So let's start with the first one, name clause. Name. Here we just write something very small. This shows the name of the company. Here you go, as simple as that. Number 2, registered office course. Rather, this shows the registered physical office. The registered physical office of the company. The registered physical office of the company situated in Kenya. Situated in Kenya. First of all, this office is the official address. This office is the official address of the company. The official address of the company. And the place from where. And the place from where the company does business. Company does business. The following documents must be maintained in this office. The following documents must be maintained in this office. So we are saying that this is where the company is registered, like what I was saying. Destiny is registered at 11th floor of the Bazaar Plaza. And this is our official address, the physical address. One that is where they should get us. It is also the place from where the main business of the company is undertaken. That does not mean we cannot do business elsewhere, but we must be coming from here. We must be coming from here. Then, in this office, there are some statutory documents that you must keep. So, number one, register of members and index of members. Register of members and index of members. And index. Register of members and index of members. Number two, register of directors. Register of directors. Number three, register of secretaries. Register of secretaries. Number three, register of debenture holders. Register of debenture holders. Next is register of charges. Register of charges. Another one is register of directors shareholding. Register of directors shareholding. Another one is minute book of general meetings. Minute book. Minute book of general meetings. Another one is books of accounts. Books of accounts. Okay, then down there we write another sentence, still on the same. The above documents can be inspected by members of the company. Can be inspected by members of the company. Members of the company and debenture holders free of charge. And debenture holders free of charge anytime. Debenture holders anytime. Full stop. Members of the public can also inspect the documents. Members of the public can also inspect the documents. After making the required payments, and stating reasonable reasons. And stating reasonable reasons for the inspection. Reasonable reasons for the inspection. So what we are saying there is that these documents, they must be kept there. Hata hapa kwetu ukienda pale, you can be able to get. But the inspection is only to the company members and venture holders, free of charge. The venture holders ni watu wamepea kampuni pesa na wameandikiwa, wameandikiana that they will be paid. We'll be discussing the ventures later on. So they can inspect those documents. But any other member of public is still welcome, but must pay some money. And number two, must give us reasons. Why are you coming to inspect our books? Particularly when it comes to books of accounts. We cannot just give our books of accounts to every Tom, Dick, and Harry. We don't know the reasons why you have come to do that. So you must come with a reason, and we will allow you to do that. So we call it a day at that point and hope to pick up from there tomorrow. God willing. Thank you so much.